The good news for the black man is that he is on the verge of recapturing his position as ruler of the universe. The bad news for the white man is that his long and wicked reign will shortly be over.
Good morning from beautiful Cape Town. I hope you have an amazing day.
An influencer's been left horrified after finding out that she swam in sewage. Michelle Sky Hayward recently posted a video of herself enjoying her cold swim, but it didn't take long for commenters to point out what she was swimming in. Hayward even admitted to ingesting some.
Over 200 people have died at Lake Lanier since the 90s, and y'all still treat it like a vacation spot? Jet skiing over graves like the ancestors won't just snatch you right off of that boat.
What justice did the Native Indians get?
What justice did they get?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the native Indians were actually more of so
that
They won't release the photos because the Johns are in the photos.
Over the summer in an interview, you said, quote, "There's no vaccine that is, safe and effective." Do you still believe that?
I never said that.
So stop me. We have the clip. Please play the clip.
There's no vaccine that is, safe and effective.
These aren't horror stories from our past. This is happening right now in the United States of America.
Every single elected politician in our government, again, the U.S. is backing this government in Israel and what it's doing. Every single politician in the Congress, the Senate, Democrat and Republican, has a morally urgent responsibility right now to pressure the Israeli government to let aid in and let aid groups distribute it immediately. This is madness. We are running out of words to describe it, and the people in Gaza are running out of time.
Starvation in Gaza has gotten so bad that people in Egypt are filling up water bottles with baby formula and throwing it into the ocean in hopes that people in Gaza will be able to get it. More than 600,000 people in the strip have not ate food for days, and they are at risk of dying. More importantly, 70,000 children are going to get killed due to forced starvation. The pictures coming out, listen, I don't care what your political ideology is, but if you genuinely think that a mother and a child deserve to go through forced starvation due to something that they had no control over, I don't know what to tell you. The situation in Gaza is getting really, really, really bad. And if they don't bring in aid at some point, there are going to be people and children who are getting killed due to forced starvation. And that's just how it's gonna go if food doesn't go in. Images of people throwing bottles in the ocean in hopes that people in Gaza will get it are just so entirely heartbreaking. I don't know why more content creators aren't speaking about this. I don't know why this isn't on more headlines. I don't know why people aren't taking this seriously, but please talk about it because the situation is really fucking bad.
Do you guys remember this Atlanta couple? Well, a judge just awarded them $2.25 million after living through arguably one of the most traumatizing experiences, not once but twice. On July 10th, 2023, 20-year-old Jessica Ross arrived at Southern Regional Medical Center in Atlanta, ready to give birth to her first child. Well, the baby's shoulders were stuck, which was making the delivery very difficult, and after 3 hours of pushing, the doctor finally decided on a cesarean. Only his body was delivered via cesarean. His head was delivered vaginally. You see, the OB, Dr. Tracy St. Julian, pulled so hard on this little baby, she decapitated him. The hospital staff then lied to the couple about what had happened, telling them the baby was stillborn. When Jessica asked for an autopsy, the staff discouraged her by saying she'd have to pay for it, which was not true. And possibly most suspicious of all, the hospital did not report the death to the medical examiner. In fact, it was the funeral director who told Jessica the truth about what had happened and contacted the medical examiner. And the story just keeps getting worse. In a quest for justice, Jessica and Travion hired Dr. Jackson Gates to perform a private autopsy on their baby. Days later, they learned that Dr. Gates had posted to Instagram photos and videos of their child's autopsy, including showing the baby's face and internal organs. Just this week, the couple was awarded $2.25 million for the lawsuit against Dr. Gates. The lawsuit against the hospital and Dr. St. Julian has not yet gone to trial.
Gary Kesey walks into a Knox County courtroom smiling at his attorney.
Is he prepared to serve a life in prison?
What do you mean prepared? How does one prepare for that?
A former pastor of the Faith Life Church in New Albany, where his parents remain the lead pastors, is now accused of raping a fourth victim. This time, the indictment indicates Kesey was in his 20s when he sexually abused a child for 4 years who was younger than 13 years old. The time span for all 32 counts, 2001 to 2012.
Started when he was an adult to a 6-7-year-old child. How, as a mother, can you stand behind your son?
Prosecutors say at least 3 of the victims attended Faith Life Church. Members of the community came out to support them.
You think there are more victims out there?
Absolutely.
But also demand that Knox County Commissioner Drenda Kesey, mother of the suspect, step down from her elected position.
The fact that Drenda is still holding a Knox County Commissioner seat is absurd.
Commissioner Kesey has yet to respond to my email asking her about the resignation demands. However, she was only a few feet behind her son watching this latest hearing, where the defense claims they're receiving phone records and other evidence for the July trial on a delay.
What was not addressed is why did it take them 6 weeks to get us that what they already had? I don't care if she had it in February, March, or April. Who cares? You got it, you send it.
Prosecutors tell me there is a second suspect linked to this case, and that second suspect committed their crimes in Fairfield County. I called the Fairfield County Sheriff's Department today to check the status of that investigation, and I am waiting to hear back.
I think the reason that many people who are in positions of responsibility in the government might not want this disclosed is I think it has the possibility at a moment when the dollar reserve currency status is in flux and people are feeling pretty sensitive about it. I think if the truth about Epstein came out, those files would lead to a truth about the money that's disappeared out the back door in the federal government and the truth about Operation Warp Speed and why the agency missing $20 trillion is running around demanding we inject mysterious ingredients in people's body, which this administration continues to promote. I think it will help people integrate the dots between the missing money and Operation Warp Speed in a way that really threatens the financial system. You know, it's one thing to manage the dollar successfully. It's another thing to try and manage it when people know your sort of covert tricks. And of course, that covert trick threatens Americans' retirement savings in a very deep and bad way. We don't have a debt problem; we have a robbery problem. And I think if too many Americans connect the dots, many people feel it would be dangerous for the financial system.
After about 200 years, a bloodline will just die out because they're infertile from so much inbreeding. Mm-hmm. And so they would just take a cadet family, one of the other branches, and they'd plug them in. Mm-hmm. And so it was the same bloodline. But if you look at the Habsburgs, they all have strawberry blonde hair. It's reddish blonde. And there's a Pope, Orsini, who had reddish blonde hair. And I think he was involved in the Habsburg line. Mm-hmm. Another one is Bill Clinton's mother, who was the illegitimate child of Winthrop Rockefeller, who was governor of Arkansas. That's why Clinton was president, and now Hillary Clinton. She's actually, her middle name was Rodham. What I looked it up, and it was shortened from Rodonsky, and she's from a Jewish family in Rodonsky, Poland. They keep rebreeding the ancient stock. Mm-hmm. The Chi in Italian, like
Medici.
Yeah, Chi means the stock, the bloodline you're from, or the tribe. It means DNA is what it means, and it's always through the female. It's not through the male. It's through the female.
Investigations as recently as 2021 showed that women in ICE custody were subjected to unwanted, unnecessary, and at times non-consensual gynecological procedures. Let's be clear, this is not medical neglect, this is reproductive violence. One of the people that were investigated wasn't even an OBGYN, yet the prison corporation, LaSalle Corrections, referred patients over and over again to him. More than 50 women came forward in this most recent investigation, many of them sterilized, others not even understanding the procedures that they underwent, and many of them did not speak English. They were detained, powerless, and their bodies were violated in a country that claims to stand for human rights. This echoes a shameful history of sterilization of black women, indigenous women, and women with disabilities. This never ended. It just changed forms. If you're horrified, you should be. This is what happens when immigration enforcement becomes a profit-driven industry where people are no longer considered human. Immigrants are humans. Reproduction is a human right, and being silent helps no one but the abusers. There is no doubt this is continuing under the Trump administration and ICE, which has become more barbaric each and every day.
One thing I could not stop thinking about is how if so many men weren't so naturally submissive, none of this would be possible. We wouldn't have ICE agents in our streets kidnapping people because there would be no men to sign up to do that. You know what I mean? Like, these men are so ready to dress up as their favorite video game character and go out in the streets and perpetuate harm for some sort of perceived glory by following the orders of the most powerful psychopath they can find. And that's how we get harm on scale. Because men follow orders. Men will do anything to have their hero's arc. And each man views that as something differently, but as we're seeing, a lot of men view it as causing immense amounts of harm under the direction of their leader. They'll do whatever he says. They'll do whatever they're told because they're submissive. And that is why we have so much harm in the world. I think that there's a portion inside of men, there's a piece of them that seeks out difficult situations, dangerous situations, because they think it's going to give them a chance to finally be a hero, finally be somebody, finally make daddy proud.
So I view like the what the Aztecs, the Mayans were doing.
I'm talking about North American Indians, right? I'm talking about North American Indians right now.
North American Indians. You know, honestly, they didn't get a. And I also don't really feel like God is ever going to step in and you know, deliver justice on every single cause, because we really don't know every single instance of what happens in every situation, right? Every situation is different.
See how it was so hard for you to say they never received justice? Their whole land is gone. Land don't belong to them no more. You bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki for the same thing that y'all did to the Native Indians.
I'll answer your question. What judgment do people get for what they did to the Native Americans? If somebody did, a singular individual committed a crime against a Native American, then they're going to get their judgment when they get judged by God. That's their judgment. And that's, whether God does that in real life or delivers that judgment before they die or not, that's something that God can do, and God can use discernment where he wants to.
So how come America can just leave that up to God for Hiroshima and Nagasaki?
What do you mean, bro? That God...
Why America don't leave problems to God to judge? How come America got to step in and do the judging?
Journalists in Gaza have called for a worldwide hunger strike, as well as the banging of empty pots at various institutions, in a call to end the starvation in the besieged Strip. The famine is a direct result of Israel's blockade of food and aid on the Strip. While journalists have reported through a genocide for 21 months, giving little thought to their own safety, their bodies are now shutting down from starvation.
Hearing our fellow colleagues in Gaza talk about fainting from exhaustion, talking about being in extreme pain while reporting the news and being unable to report the news. This is an urgent appeal to raise awareness around the starvation that is going on as a weapon of genocide by the Israeli regime.
85% of Gaza's population has entered phase 5 of malnutrition, a phase that can become irreversible even if food becomes available. Media networks such as Agence France Presse, BBC, Reuters, and Al Jazeera have called for the urgent evacuation of their journalists and for food supplies to be let in urgently. As UN trucks sit helplessly at the border while Gazans starve, Palestinian journalists make a final bid to the world to send aid in before the population perishes from hunger.
Good morning. Don't mind me. Give me some purple. These the best spatulas.
Saying that it tasted salty. It's unknown whether she became ill following her swim, but many beaches across South Africa are no-go zones due to high levels of E. coli in the water, which come from sewage leaks and runoff.
People say the lake is cursed, but let's be real, it's not cursed. It's contaminated, but not by spirits, by blood, by history, by state-sanctioned erasure. Before Lake Lanier, there was Oscarville, Georgia, a thriving black town built by formerly enslaved people. They owned homes, ran businesses, sent their children to school. It was black land, black wealth, black stability. And in 1912, white rage burned it down. Here's what happened. A white woman was found assaulted. 3 black men were accused, and one was lynched in public. Another, dragged out of his jail cell and murdered. And the third was sentenced to death with no real evidence. But it didn't stop there. White mobs, they used that moment as an excuse to purge Forsyth County. They shot into homes, set buildings on fire, burned churches while people were still inside. They threatened families at gunpoint. And within weeks, over 1,100 black residents were gone. Oscarville was emptied out by terror. Black-owned land was stolen and resold for cheap. Then in the 1950s, the U.S. government showed up. They wanted to build a reservoir, and they chose that exact stretch of land. No one moved the bodies, no one exhumed the graves. No one honored the people that were buried there. They flooded it. They drowned the crime scene. The church pews, they're still down there. Cemeteries, still under the surface. Black homes and bones, still beneath white boots and lake houses. So when people start talking about Lake Lanier's bad energy, yeah, the energy is bad. Because you're floating over a massacre that nobody was held accountable for. A black town that was torched, flooded, and forgotten on purpose. This country didn't just erase Oscarville. It repackaged it. Turned it into a tourist attraction. Let white families fish and ski over top of land that they never had to pay for. And they called that progress. So yeah, call it haunted if you want to. But don't act surprised when the lake drags someone under.
Document into the record listing the members of this committee and their individual calls to release the Epstein files.
Shauna, without objection. The subcommittee stands in recess, subject to the call of the chair.
Point of order. Are we not going to take the vote?
We're in recess. Well, subject to call of the chair. Our hope is today we have plans.
Recess.
We have plans.
They have forever recess. Children will not.
And now we will be calling up Ms. Lee's motion as amended. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. No. In the opinion of the, pardon?
The ayes have it.
In the opinion of the chair, the no has it.
Recorded vote, sir.
Recorded vote is called for. The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Gosar. Mr. Biggs. Ms. Mace. Ms. Mace votes aye. Mr. Perry. Mr. Perry votes aye. Ms. Bobert. Mr. Jack.
Aye.
Mr. Jack votes aye. Ms. Lee. Ms. Lee votes yes. Mr. Bell.
Aye.
Mr. Bell votes aye. Ms. Simon. Ms. Simon votes aye. Ms. Presley. Ms. Presley votes aye. Mr. Garcia?
Aye.
Mr. Garcia votes aye. Mr. Chairman? No. Mr. Chairman votes no. Mr. Biggs votes nay. Mr. Chairman, on this vote, the ayes are 8, the nays are 2.
The subcommittee stands adjourned.
Have you ever wondered why, if you minus all of the numbers on a clock, it adds up to 6? Well, here's why. 6 is the number of time, space, and matter. 60 minutes in an hour, 60 seconds in a minute, and 24 hours in a day. 2 plus 4 equals 6. That's 666. The cube has 6 sides, and this is the geometric shape that gives rise to physical matter. 666 is 3 sixes. 3 represents thought, emotion, action. These are the 3 aspects of creation. 666 is the beast. You are the beast when your thought, emotion, action is only going towards your physical reality, cutting you off from your spirituality, and then you become the beast. That's why 666 is 3 sixes. Now you know why you see 666 absolutely everywhere. It symbolizes worshipping this physical plane. And this physical plane is governed by the god of time, and time is governed by Father Saturn.
I've lost half my lung capacity. If I can look this normal while carrying that much damage, how many others are out there suffering silently? In researching my condition, I found the Georgetown scientist who predicted my specific problem. The very same month of the vaccine rollout, he warned that spike protein exposure, whether from the virus or from the shot, could harm the blood vessels in the lungs and placenta. Spike protein itself from the SARS-1 virus, SARS-1, also caused vascular damage in animals. I learned many hospitalized COVID patients developed pulmonary hypertension. Autopsies showed the same kind of lung vessel damage I had. Long COVID patients with persistent breathlessness have the same findings. As in my case, their symptoms improve, but the damage remains. We now know the SARS-CoV-2 spike protein can damage the lungs, heart, and brain in animals. It is toxic, irrefutably so. I know that's uncomfortable to hear. One study found athletes who got mRNA boosters saw drops in aerobic capacity equivalent to aging 5 to 10 years in just 1 week. Why is this? I now see colleagues and patients struggling with daily tasks. Many are limited by unexplained shortness of breath. Could this be a spectrum of vascular damage like what happened to me?
This woman has come with a problem. One of her hands is shorter than the other. Look at that! This is incredible. Her left hand is growing.
Oh my God! Wow!
Is that your daughter?
Yes.
Okay, I guess she went to school and said you have a baby in a box.
She talking about my sister's baby that she had a miscarriage.
Is it like in an urn or something?
You know, like a jury box.
Yeah, but it's okay.
My sister had it hanging up right here, but the kids was touching it, so she moved it.
So your sister had a miscarriage?
Yes.
Did the whole funeral service and it's like a memorial type of box, or?
No, I don't know why. She just put it in the box.
How far along was she?
Eddie.
Did she go to the hospital when she had the miscarriage?
No, I was there.
So I understand that this is probably emotional and everything else. We just need to see the box.
We just opened the box. The baby not in the box.
Okay.
I think the dog chewed it up.
Nah.
Yeah. I broke down one night because the baby was gone.
Cause that is the box the baby was in.
Okay.
For sure.
You guys have a dog?
It was my brother's dog, but he just came and got his dog.
To be honest, it was probably the dog that dug it up. It probably smelled it and dug it up.
Yeah. I broke down one night because the baby was gone.
Pam Bondi and Mike Johnson both said this week that they can't release anything from the Epstein documents because they have to protect the innocent. They never said the children. They won't release the photos because the men are in the photos. The men are in the photos. The Johns, the abusers, are in the photos and the videos. Epstein was like Diddy. He had blackmail on these people to ensure that they never turned on him. This is the evidence list that they have for the Epstein case. It doesn't give you the pictures or the videos, but it does give you the contents of the boxes. I have published this for free on my Substack. This is a partial list of all of the evidence that Pam Bondi has access to right now. She had a meeting with Trump back in May and told him that his name appears several times within the evidence. We also know that the Johns are in the photos. When Virginia Giuffre and other victims who had come forward to tell their story participated in the investigation into Ghislaine Maxwell, they had to go through books full of photos and identify for the FBI and local police if it was their body in the picture with the John. Jeffrey Epstein took photos and videos of the women and children he trafficked to his friends, both to hold those photos and videos over the victims' heads and to blackmail the Johns. That is why she will not release the pictures and videos. But no, Donald Trump wants you to just stop talking about Epstein, actually. Well, the only way I'm going to stop talking about Epstein is to talk about one of your other best friends, Vince McMahon, who is also in court right now for allegedly trafficking and sexually assaulting people. And though he continues to deny these allegations, he paid somebody $3 million to not talk about it. And very recently, one of the co-defendants in the sex trafficking case against Donald Trump's best friend, Vince McMahon, has decided to flip and actually help the victims instead. Vince McMahon also in court for a separate case where he allowed the rampant sexual exploitation of ring boys by one of the announcers. Vince McMahon, the WWE, and our current Secretary of Education, Linda McMahon, have all been accused of failing to stop the sexual exploitation of ring boys by an announcer. Children as young as 12 who had a dream of being a part of the WWE were systemically sexually abused by one of the announcers in the 80s and 90s. And they're saying Vince and Linda and the WWE did nothing to stop it. Brent the Hitman Hart said last month that Vince McMahon became a predator and used wrestling as the backdrop for all of his evil. He said Vince will go down in history as just as bad as Jeffrey Dahmer, Harvey Weinstein, or Jeffrey Epstein. If I had a nickel for every time one of Donald Trump's best friends was accused of sexual assault, sex trafficking, or abuse of minors, I'd have 2 nickels.
Just finished a morning run, sweating bullets, but I have to say this while I'm thinking about it. Almost every week, I see someone ask the question, why are white men so angry? And while I cannot begin to expound on the many reasons why that might be, what I can say is this: I view all social problems through a lens of societal systems, because as a sociologist, that's what I'm trained to do. And here is the design flaw in systems of privilege. When you build systems of hierarchy and privilege, when you build systems of hierarchy and privilege, the privilege is actually what weakens you. The privilege makes you weak because when you socialize an entire group of people to believe that I exist, therefore I deserve. I exist, therefore I am entitled. I exist, therefore the path of prosperity should be laid out very cleanly ahead of me, and I don't have to work hard, and I don't have to struggle, and I don't have to dig deep. I just have to receive. Meanwhile, you are socializing all other groups to survive with less resources, with less privilege. And so as a byproduct of their survival, they are becoming adaptable, resilient, creative, resourceful. They are developing the muscle for survival that they subsequently turn into systems for success and prosperity. Meanwhile, the privileged group is not developing these systems. And when they start to see the disenfranchised group becoming stronger, gaining opportunities, building systems of success, rather than say, hey, maybe we ought to be doing that too, no. Privilege doubles down. Privilege digs deep into the well of anger and grievance and says, you are the reason why I can't be successful. You are taking opportunities away from me and my children and generations. And so now, rather than develop the muscle of resilience, what I'm going to do now is start taking privileges away from you. And now I'm going to start taking your resources, and now I'm going to start burning your house down in hopes that you will get back to where I think you ought to be, which is underneath me. Not realizing that the more you do that, the more privileges you take away, the more systems of success you try to dismantle, you are only making them more creative, more adaptable, more resilient, and more resourceful. So it becomes this Ouroboros, this snake eating its own tail, because the very system that you designed to uplift yourself is actually the one that is putting you far behind, because you never develop the muscle, the work ethic, the resilience, the innovation, and the creativity as the disenfranchised group.
It's still a war with our people. It's still a war. Except now they have like heroin bullets, alcohol bullets, political weapons such as education system that are designed to make our children become something other than what they are. We want them to be proud American Indians.
Bill Wapapa says he and the school's directors anticipate trouble with city officials because they've pulled their children out of public schools. He says they'll deal with that trouble when it comes, and it won't discourage their efforts here at all. From Oakland, I'm Ben Williams, Channel 5 Eyewitness News.